February 1st, 1959. In the heart of the Ural Mountains, at the foot of the peak, known by the Mansi locals as the Mountain of the Dead, time stood still. At midnight, a blizzard of skeletal intensity beat against the thin walls of a lone tent. Inside, 9 hikers, the pride of the Soviet Union, were trapped in a space that was rapidly becoming their tomb. The air inside was thick with the scent of damp wool, sweat, and the fading warmth of a dying stove. They were seasoned explorers, led by Igor Dyatlov, yet no amount of experience could prepare them for the sheer terror that was about to unfold. The flickering light of a failing flashlight cast dancing, jagged shadows across the canvas walls. Every gust of wind felt like a physical blow, a rhythmic pounding that seemed to signal something more than just a storm. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. It wasn't just the roar of the wind anymore. There was a sound, a vibration, a frequency that bypassed the ears and struck directly at the soul. Panic, sharp, and electric filled the cramped space. There was no time to search for boots. There was no time to undo the frozen zippers of the entrance. Claustrophobia gripped them like a physical hand around their throats. In an act of pure, desperate survival, a hand reached for a knife. The blade bit into the heavy fabric of the tent from the inside. This wasn't a clean surgical cut. It was a frantic, jagged slashing, born of a life-or-death urgency. The fibers of the canvas frayed and popped under the pressure of trembling hands. With every violent stroke, the breach widened, and the mountain fought its way in. The moment the fabric tore, the interior was invaded. A blinding burst of swirling snow and fine ice particles flooded the opening, extinguishing the last remnants of warmth. The flashlight's erratic beam caught glimpses of the chaos: scattered gear, abandoned boots, and frozen supplies being buried under the incoming whiteout. But it was what lay beyond the tear that truly froze their blood. Through the jagged opening, framed by the fluttering edges of the ruined tent, the hikers looked out into the abyss. There, amidst the horizontal sheets of snow and the screaming wind, an ambiguous shadow moved, a silhouette larger than any man, shifting through the blinding white background. Fear did what the cold could not. It drove them out into the negative 30-degree night, barefoot and barely clothed. They fled down the slope toward the forest, leaving behind the only shelter they had. The footprints they left in the snow became silent witnesses to one of history's greatest mysteries. Why did they run? What did they see through that frantic tear in the canvas? The Ural Mountains keep their secrets well. Even as their bodies were found months later, broken by internal pressures that no human hand could exert, the mountains remained silent. To this day, the wind still howls across the Mountain of the Dead, whispering the same chilling question. What was so terrifying that death in the snow seemed like the only escape?
Let go. 1959. Your story is written in the mountain frost.